Let's see if this is working. What's up, everyone? Happy Thursday. Hit me up in the chat if you can hear what I'm saying. First time going live in a few weeks here, so. Oh, let's see. What is everyone up to? Thursday night. Tomorrow's Friday. Tomorrow's release day for Prismatic Evolutions. And I'm curious what's going to happen. Gene, what's up? Hopeless, welcome. You guys hear me loud and clear? Can you guys hear the background music at all? Like, it should be just like ever so slight. I just want to make sure it's not too... Okay, cool. All right, yeah, so tomorrow, big day. Big news this week with the reprints for Prismatic Evolutions. We were told we're getting reprints. We're not getting reprints soon. Otherwise, they would have thrown a date out there. I made a video about that this week, but yeah, a little bit of price regression here, just a little bit, but it looks like if we kind of punch in through on the data here, that there's plenty of sales. And I talk about this periodically where the demand in the market is not static. It's not this constant thing. The demand depends on lots of other factors, but also depends on price, right? Obviously, if something is at a certain price and then that price gets cut in half or price gets it gets a percentage reduction, that brings more demand into market. So I think that's what's happening here. And the closer this gets to $100, the faster this is going to move. So a video I'm going to do tomorrow, I'm going to compile this price data here and just show you once we have a couple days worth of, because yesterday we had the announcement, and then today we still got plenty of sales volume here. So I want to show day over day comparison based on the reduction in price based on that news. It's really just going to show that the market's pretty strong still for this product. If we were getting reprints within the next month or so, they would have told us that. They would have told us, hey, here's a date. My guess is that they already had an order in with the printer before this announcement, but that it's still so far down the road to that it's just they couldn't throw a date out there. So it was really, and we still have product coming out. We still have booster bundles coming out. We still have the surprise box doesn't release until February, so it's yeah. I don't think there's really nothing. I still expect a really strong day of sales tomorrow. And keep in mind, look how many of these have sold on TCG Player. Over 5,500 sold pre-sale. You'd be hard pressed to find an ETB, a specialty ETB, that's sold. This is outsold 151 this year. ETBs, I'm saying. So, and that's pre-release. So it's nuts. Let's check in with the chat. We're also getting PC ETB reprints according to Pokemon Center. I didn't know that. That's interesting. They got to be careful with that. That's one they got to be careful with. That is the de facto collector's box of the Scarlet and Violet era, and we saw it with Twilight Masquerade. That's going to erode confidence a bit. The Pokemon market's weird because the people that come in and out of this market, they forget things like that sometimes. Like, they forget that, yes, we've been dumped on with reprints before to the point of being far too much. So the Pokemon company, and it's not easy for the Pokemon company to do, right? They have to answer to shareholders. They have to get as much profit on product as possible. And the product that they produce is collectible. And so they have to ride that fine line of being able to capture as much revenue as possible and not collapse the secondary market and the collectability of their product. And that is not an easy job. Sarge, hope you're doing well, pal. Thanks for the all great info. Yeah, great. Hopefully everyone's enjoying the channel. This is great. Crazy times. It's going to be really hard to navigate this market. We're already seeing craziness with Journey Together here. We saw booster boxes, and this is a video I wanted to do for tomorrow, but I might have to put it off. Journey Together booster box is selling, it was earlier this week or last week, for, I think it was right off the bat, it was like 300 on eBay. They're not listed on TCG Player yet. Prices have come down a bit, but this is, remember, people are paying $200+, so way above MSRP, for a product that we have no idea, very little information as to what's in it. So here's some sold listings today. about that $250 mark. So well above MSRP, and we have no idea. So that's dumb money. That to me is dumb money. To me, there's no way I am picking up a product and paying almost twice MSRP for something I'm not even sure what's in it, right? So that's what I'm going to talk about: smart money and dumb money, right? Smart money is saying, hey, Journey Together, this is too expensive for me. I have no idea what's in it. I'm going to set this one out. That's the smart money. The dumb money is always assumes that this keeps going forever. And maybe the market says, hey, you know what? We're just going to keep pumping and pumping this regardless of the cards in the set. Regardless. To me, my fundamentals include I have to want the cards in the set. I have to. Because for the longest time, for the first 3 to 4 to 5 years of a product's lifespan, the cards that are in this set are going to matter. Imagine Evolving Skies if it didn't have the Umbreon in it, right? If it didn't have the Glaceon or the Sylveon in it. It wouldn't be collectible. Eventually, all boxes start rising in price because they just become collectible themselves, regardless of what's in them. But in the first 5 years, those cards matter. Like Surging Sparks, like you have multiple cards, multiple chase cards in the $300 range. Demand cards that people want. That's what we want as investors. That's certainly what I want as collectors, right? If I'm opening packs, I want to be able to pull good stuff. How much do you, Brandon, how much do you think realistically a Prismatic ETB will sell for in a month? In a month's time, I don't think we're going to get reprints within a month. Again, they would have announced that within a month's time. I think that $150 price point is probably it. The market's going to shift. Journey Together, when we start getting previews for Journey Together, that's going to determine where that money's going to sit. So if Journey Together doesn't shape up to look good on paper from an art standpoint, some of the smarter money is going to go back and look at Prismatic, or it's going to sit off in the sidelines and wait for Team Rocket. So this to me is going to be this biggest point in this market. Prismatic's massive, but Journey Together is going to prove to us, number one, is Pokemon Company on a streak, a massive streak, or is the market full of dumb money right now, and we get a bad or maybe mediocre set from the Pokemon Company, and what does the market do with that? Does it collapse? Does it pull the rug out from underneath it? The confidence in the market? Does the market not care, and it's just buying these boxes sight unseen, and we'll just continue to charge forward? We don't know. I think that'll be a huge point of this market. And then we obviously have Team Rocket, and Team Rocket's going to be one where the name alone on that set is going to carry it from a pre-order standpoint. I fully expect pre-orders on that to go, like you're seeing here, well above MSRP, almost regardless of what Journey Together does. If Team Rocket flops, that'll be a turning point in the market. We'll see. Agent Crypto, what up, lads? What's happening? Chris, spending this whole month trying not to FOMO. Yeah, that is hard. That is emotion. And as investors, as humans, we can't necessarily put it aside. Wisdom helps with that a lot. One of the things one of the tips and tricks I do with FOMO is like Journey Together. If I couldn't get booster boxes under MSRP or close to MSRP, I would pick up a couple ETBs at a reasonable price. I would happen to snag a couple Pokemon Center ETBs for the set. So to me, if I can get a little bit of the set, just it kind of like takes the edge off the FOMO, right? Like I have exposure to that set. So if that set becomes Evolving Skies 2.0 and goes to the moon, I have something in that market. That doesn't eliminate the fear of missing out from hey, I wish I had more of the set so I could capitalize on from a revenue standpoint, but it helps. So that can go a long way. Just getting one ETB of something, you get some exposure and you move on to the next thing. But it's human nature. It's not anything to try to stomp out in yourself. It's just something you have to recognize. If you recognize it, you can kind of build tools for yourself to work out, to kind of just know it exists. So question is Crown Zenith undervalued? $7 a pack for the best specialty sword and shield set seems cheap. Yeah, I think so. I think the Pokemon Center ETBs are definitely starting to climb. Those are approaching 200, and everything else is starting to go up too for that set. So is it undervalued? I don't know if it's undervalued. It's a good set. That's a really good set. And and I think it's that's the kind of stuff that you want to be picking up, especially if it's $7 a pack's not. I think $7 a pack's appropriate for that, because it's still, remember, it's Sword and Shield, but it's the caboose of Sword and Shield, and they printed it up until not long ago, right? We got Sea and Sky collection not that long ago, so yeah, Crown Zenith's good pickup. And Sword and Shield's, like, if you're smart, you're looking at Sword and Shield and you're picking up Sword and Shield. Rudy talked about this, right? Some of Scarlet and Violet's getting a little expensive. We see some of the dumb money looking at things like Scarlet and Violet base and pumping that up and buying that regardless of what it is. And luckily, the dumb money hasn't gone back to like Sword and Shield and started buying like Battle Styles or Darkness Ablaze yet. That stuff is really still low, which is what it should be regardless of age, in my opinion, just because they're not great sets. And again, that's my fundamental, is buying really good product. But yeah, Sword and Shield's going to be... And, you know, I talked about this again this week, where Evolving Skies is paving the way. Evolving Skies at $1,500 a box means Fusion Strike can be $1,000 a box. And the market's going to get it there. It's only a matter of time. And that's true of everything, right? But, yeah, Fusion Strike's fantastic. So anything you can get up. ETBs are a great pickup right now in Sword and Shield era. We still see some come to market. But it's typically the lesser sets, like we're seeing a lot of Brilliant Stars come out. Lost Origin still comes out though at we saw some target drops this week, $40 a pop, so that can be a little bit a good way of getting a little bit of exposure if the booster box is a little expensive for you. Keep the pack price in mind. Yeah, Sword and Shield's fantastic here. Speedy Lou, so many singles skyrocketing, everyone is looking for anything undervalued. Yes, and the next thing that people are going to look at is Japanese. I had a friend talk about Japanese this week and saying, hey, Japanese is undervalued. I won't touch that with a 10-foot pole because it's not organic. It's not organic demand. It's people looking to get exposure to product that is otherwise expensive because English is expensive. We saw this with Sword and Shield when it started to go up, right? We saw it with like V-Star Universe. We saw it with 151. And then we got the Pokemon Company in Japan reprints differently. They'll do lots of small waves. Or big waves. I don't touch Japanese. It's just people don't collect it. They're looking for price exposure. That's all it is. It's not organic demand. It's not. I don't see. Again, I've said this a million times. Every time I go on release day on a GameStop to pick up my ETB, I see people of all different age groups buying English product. Right. That's what I want. This IP crosses generational gaps. We want people that collect it. We want people to. We don't want just one investors. If it's all investors, it's a bubble and you're screwed. You should get out. Right. Japanese is just not for me. Question, with all Sword and Shield pumping right now, and its Hidden Fates to buy, not even back to 300 per ETB at Sun and Moon era. Let's see. Let's take a look. Hidden Fates was not one that I did a lot of collecting on. We get the Shiny Vault. Yeah, I mean you're chasing a product that's quite a bit of value here, or has gone up a lot recently. So certainly drying up on TCG Player. Last time I looked at the Shiny Vault, if I can spell. Yeah, some good value in those cards. Real good value. Not too much price action on these recently, but that's an expensive card. Yeah, I hate chasing stuff, but if you want to have exposure to it, I mean, that's a piece of history right there. Yeah, let's get the likes going for sure. So what else are we looking at tonight? We got Prismatic releasing tomorrow. What's everyone think? What's going to happen? I'm curious what's going to happen with Pokemon Center ETBs. Still expensive. If someone mentioned in the chat a confirmation that Pokemon Center is reprinting Pokemon Center ETBs, if you have any links showing that, because I have not seen that, and that'd be interesting that they would actually announce that. They've reprinted Pokemon Center ETBs, but none that I've ever seen announced. So this price hasn't really moved this week on this. But again, remember, the glut of the most, tomorrow will be the most Pokemon Center ETB. Yes, Pokemon Center, right? Yeah. Tomorrow will be the most Pokemon Center ETBs coming to market tomorrow. And through after that, it'll just continue to drive down. There's no more product from distribution or anything, so. Agent Crypto, how are you playing the market right now? Yeah, that's a question we have to ask ourselves, right? you know, the way I'd been approaching it for the last couple of years is I get a few boxes from every single set. I can get it, you know, typically around about $100 a pop. But my distribution access is kind of a pool of people, and so when product gets hot like this, the demand goes up, and so the number of available boxes goes down. So I'm kind of in the same boat as everyone, trying to buy from, you know, an online retailer like Gamers Guild, something like that. I work with TCG Vend. Sometimes they have some decent prices, though not as much recently. So the question really is, you know, you have to make a plan. Are you going to buy products sight unseen, like Journey? Let's take Journey Together, for example, right? Are you going to pay $250 for a booster box? Me? No, not now. If it was like a Prismatic, where I started ordering Prismatic like crazy when I first saw the first previews. We were still seeing it for under $50 a pop pre-order. And I saw this previews, I'm like, I like it. I think those are gorgeous cards. I think the market's going to like it. So I backed the truck up. It's hard to do that when Journey Together is already $250 a box. And again, to buy that, to pre-order $250 is to assume that there's nothing, that some event's not going to happen where maybe the cards aren't great, maybe they print the crap out of it, and that price starts to erode. There's just less upside potential from $250 onward right now on a set that's not even released than there was previously, like ordering Surging Sparks at $100 a pop, right? So I was okay ordering product sight unseen at $100 a pop under MSRP. The upside potential was always far greater, but moving forward, yeah, that's not going to be the case. So again, the question is, do you need exposure to a set? I would still hold out on Journey Together. I've seen boxes come up to market. Gamers Guild had them for $160. I think paying MSRP is okay. That's kind of where I draw the line. If I have not seen anything on a product yet, I am okay paying that $160 MSRP. Above that, I can't do it. I can't do it. Again, unless I absolutely love the product in the set, but we haven't seen much of anything for Journey Together. Like a Team Rocket, maybe that's like a Black Swan event where you pick a couple boxes of those upside unseen. And that's the other part of this, is you kind of look at the whole pool of capital that you would typically deploy on a set. So like a Prismatic. So I have a price in mind that I would typically spend. Now, again, I love Prismatic Evolutions, the preview. So I'm like, okay, I'm more likely to spend some more money, you know, sell a couple things, maybe get some more money to back the truck up, so to speak. But look at the pool of capital you have. You can dollar cost average. You don't have to go all in at one price, right? So don't go crazy buying Journey Together $250 if there are little opportunities popping up here and there to snag it below $200 still, right? So you kind of dollar cost average. So you can kind of get a little bit of exposure now if you want to pay a little bit more now, just to lock in a box or two, and you leave some money on the sidelines in case other opportunities pop up to get that set. There's always, I promise you guys, it seems FOMO, all the talking heads on YouTube, all the social media are going to tell you, you're going to miss out. Don't miss out. Don't miss out, right? Sometimes you got to miss out. And I tell you this because I've gone deep on sets before. So freaking deep, because I was so sure that it was going to be a banger hit and it could only go up from there. And what happened? I used way too much capital in one set, and then I missed having enough capital on the next few sets that did go to the moon. So that opportunity cost, when you go all in, you got to spread it out. Look at like, here's the next year of spending that I have to do. Here's my income. Here's what I'm okay spending and losing every month. It's hobby money, right? You got to look at that and say, hey, how much can I deploy for this set? Dollar cost average. You can dollar cost average down, right, as time goes on. And again, if you miss out, you gotta have that plan. Let's look at the chat here. So Alex C, would Journey Together at MSRP be a good play? Yes, I think that's okay. You may get disappointed, you may not be happy with the previous, but I think that's a safe number, right? That MSRP is always that kind of just, it's a psychological number, right? And I think for the purposes of investing or collecting, I think that's an okay number. If you can get that for Journey Together, I would give that my blessing for sure. What's the move now? Everyone is balls deep in Prismatic Evolution. The move is to look at what else is in Scarlet and Violet that's good. You still have, I still think there's some buying opportunities here. Stellar Crown is one that's gone up. That's the problem, is everything's kind of gone up now. Let's see, Stellar Crown 150. I think this is still a buy. These sold really well, really solid set. Less than 180 out there. That's a solid price. Look at anything under MSRP. Under MSRP is going to be the ceiling. Anything that's under MSRP that's out of stock or getting all close to being out of stock on the Pokemon Center website is also a good buy. Early Scarlet and Violet, you're going to lose soon. Like Obsidian Flames is, a lot of people will call it a mid-tier set. That's above MSRP now. We already had a reprint on it. That one's going to keep chugging along. So that to me is like, I'm not, and it's a good set. I think it's okay set. And I think it's actually getting a set that's getting some of what it deserves here, right? The pull rates are just make these card prices terrible. This Obsidian Flames Pokemon Center ETB still blows me away. So this one's a little hot for me, but you still have, you know, look at some of the newer stuff. Let's look at, let's see, Temporal Forces, definitely a solid set. Let's look at the booster box there. Yeah, this is an absolute buy. 100 boxes right here on TCG Player. I guarantee you could probably find this a little bit cheaper somewhere else. Right at that MSRP line, that's a good buy. That's a solid set under MSRP. It's not a massive upside potential. This is going to continue to go up for sure. I mean, you've got, let's see, 18% performance in the last month, great volume. That's going to continue to go up. Some good cards. This Ghastly, I should have gone deep on this card. I knew I liked it, and I kept saying, I think I said it on like 5 or 6 different videos. Oh, I got to get one of those. I should have backed the truck up and bought a bunch of them. This card is gorgeous. And that's, you got to trust yourself sometimes. Like if you think a card looks awesome, like, and I hate to go in on individual cards. I really try to avoid it, but, and this market just, unfortunately, you can't miss on this market, right? And so it kind of puts everyone into this false sense of, hey, I'm right? Because everything's up. It's easy to make money. But it's not going to be the case moving forward. It's going to be really hard. Every set's going to be above MSRP before release. Cards are going to continue to go up. There's going to be very few little edges that you can get. And again, this is a great time to sell. But yeah, Temporal Forces, good set. Paradox Rift is another one, not as good as Temporal. Let's see where box prices are here. Yeah, I think this is a solid pickup too. And same thing, not a lot of boxes out there. That's a really solid product. And then Twilight's already too expensive here. Well, depending on what your plan is, but beautiful set. Led the charge on the bull run for Scarlet and Violet, except for 151. So there's stuff out there. Sword and Shield's expensive. There's some stuff in Sword and Shield you can still look at. Silver Tempest was kind of like my last hold up, but that thing is going through the roof. So let's take a look at chat here. Ancient Crypto, thoughts on 151 Blooming Waters Costco drop video. That stuff blows my mind. I can't stand scalpers, but scalpers are going to scalp. They're going to do their thing. Should I sell 1 Prismatic PC ETB and 2 ETA to fund Journey together? That's a solid plan. I would, if you have an extra Pokemon Center ETB to hold on to, I'll probably sell 1 if this price holds. But I got 2 others to hold on to. I have to absolutely have one of those to hold on to long term. Absolutely. But yeah, it's not a terrible idea. It's kind of like the leapfrog effect. I mean, you can get to the point in this hobby where if you get enough capital deployed and you've been doing it long enough, it takes time to get to this point where you can take those upside, all that revenue, that margin, right? Start liquidating it a little bit here and there, and it kind of funds the expansion of the hobby, or can fund the hobby itself. That's kind of sort of where the point I'm at, but I never want to not have exposure to a set. I always want, like I was talking about that FOMO. Like, I wish I had Evolving Skies booster boxes. This was before I was really deep into Pokemon. I was kind of getting a little bit here and there. I got some ETBs, which is great, but yeah, you kick yourself. You don't want to be kicking yourself. You don't want regrets. So just, you can kind of get to the point where you get 1 or 2 booster boxes left. You sell the rest to cover your dollar cost in that set, and you deploy that elsewhere on other products. So that's a great method. Just have one though. Have a Pokemon Center ETB. If you have nothing else from Prismatic Evolutions, have a Pokemon Center ETB. So, would you trade Evolving Skies booster box for a case of Prismatic ETBs? No. Evolving Skies. What do you think Evolving Skies is going to do in the next 5 years? There has never been a set, and I didn't live through a lot of the higher end sets from Sun and Moon and XY era, but to me, okay, let's put it this way. There's no reason this can't be it won't be a $2,000 box this year, right? If things keep going the way they are. Is there any world where this becomes a $5,000 box in the next 5, 6, 7 years? I mean, I don't think that's out of the realm of, like, it's going to be at some point in time, this will be, in the modern era of Pokemon, this will be the most expensive box, right? If it's not, I don't think it is. I think there's stuff from Sun and Moon and XY that's higher, but yeah, Jimbo, it's a $5,000 box. Yeah, at some point in time in the future. So to me, so here's the thing, right? So Evolving Skies for the longest time was always like, especially when it was just sub 1,000, it was kind of sitting there. So it's like, well, hey, what's the upside potential on deploying $1,000 of capital on that versus other things? And this just, once it hit past that $1,000 price point, look, it's an expensive product and it still goes up. There's still demand for it. There are products in Scarlet and Violet that have less booster boxes on the market for current quantity listed. The demand on this product is ridiculous. The sleeve packs go for 25 to 30 bucks. So it's absolutely 5,000. So no, I would not get rid of Evolving Skies. It has history. It's called Evolving Cries. It was during the pandemic. It checks every single box. The amount of nostalgia that's going to be associated with Evolving Skies, people stuck at home, cracking packs of that. So Speedy, you also need to think about the liquidity as price goes up if you end up wanting to sell. Yes, I agree with you, but I think Evolving Skies is still an outlier there. There's less, like, okay, if you would have told me a year ago that, hey, you're going to have, Evolving Skies is going to sell as well at 1,500 as it did at 1,000, I would have told you you're nuts, right? I would have told you you're nuts. But here we are, we're at 1,500 and the price continues to go up. It's broken down that psychological barrier of 1,000. It's on its way to 2,000 and it still sells. So we've sold, look at that. Look at that. That's all it goes. That tells you everything you need to say right there. 500 boxes this year. In the last 3 months, let's see. In the last 3 months, it spent most of its time. What's the last 50 boxes sold at or above $1,000. That there's no liquidity problem there. Now, again, we're in a different market. We're in a completely different market. I will give you that, right? So it's hot, and this is proving that, hey, this still has runway. But I would not have believed this a year ago. Wouldn't have believed it. So yes, at $5,000, there's going to be less buyers for sure. John D. Matt, as supply goes down and price goes up for Evo, it will balance out the people willing to pay that price of people who can afford it. Yeah, that's just basic market economics. There's just less people that have that kind of capital available. But don't discount the amount of whales. Don't discount the amount of whales out there. That's a lot. Chris Fu, what is the typical profile of a person who buys a $5,000 booster box? There's a lot of them. It's people, I've seen it. I've seen the type of, and they're not the type of people you think. They're not just the investor bro crowd. It's people who, it really runs the gamut. The amount of people that spend far more than you would ever imagine of their disposable income or their non-disposable income, depending on how you look at it, on Pokemon boxes or Pokemon cards is wild. It's wild. So yeah, it's a phenomenal set. I'm glad I got some exposure to it. Wish I had more. And again, to me, that was a time, this Evolving Skies was a time when I just didn't have a good pulse on what was good and what wasn't from an artwork standpoint. I have a really good pulse on that now. There's some people who have fantastic pulses. They can pick winners. And if you get to that point, you can make money in a market, but cards to me just aren't. I've said this before. The booster box is the ETF fund. Okay, it's a fund of multiple cards. So you have a distribution of value amongst multiple cards that contributes to the value of the box. So that evens things out. But yeah, I mean, just you have one card in here. It's $1,500. It's crazy. Wild. So yeah, let's take a look. We have Silver Tempest. It continues to go nuts. $250 a box. One of the best performing sets in Sword and Shield right now. 31% return in the last month. Again, I was buying these on TikTok for $70 a pop not long ago. That's where you make your money. Okay? I will make far less. Let me put it this way. When in this hobby, you don't make your money when you sell. You capitalize. That's a liquidity event. The money you make is when everyone hates a product and you deploy capital to pick it up anyway because you know it contains good stuff and you're giving your future self that profit. That's what you're doing. That's when you're technically making your money. That's the smart move. The smart move now, if I'm selling my silver Tempest boxes that I bought at 70 at 250, that's not smart. That's just the thing you do, right? That's just what you do. You capitalize on this market, right? Liquidate some of your product and capitalize on it. Is it because it may never be this price again? There's been markets where it goes down. The smart thing to do is when everyone's looking at other things, you look at the stuff no one wants. Like, and this is what I talk about with Shrouded Fable. Like I don't love the set, but there's cards in it I do like. And I guarantee you there will be a market for that product years down the road. It may take 10 years. The Silver Tempest was like, people were giving it away. They printed the crap out of this thing. Look at it. Never mind what's going to happen to the good stuff. Fusion Strikes, I'm telling you, that one's going to go. My price estimate for that was low. Less than 100 boxes here. Beautiful set. Beautiful cards. That Gengar, I should have picked up. I kicked myself. I saw one at my local LGS for like 300. I'm like, yeah, it's a little pricey for me. Actually, I think it was less than 300. I don't know. But look at this. Crazy. Crazy. Jimbo Slice. I started investing, speculating into Mons at the end of 2023, and they were like 80 to 90, and Lost Origin 100, 110 all day. Crown Zenith ETBs 30. Much different market. Yeah, that's when you should have deployed money. That's what I was doing. Buying Crown Zenith, 40 bucks a pop. I went to PAX East. I was at, that was last year. Buying Lost Origin at 125 bucks a box. Bought a case. And I knew, and that was right as Sword and Shield was doing another accumulation phase, and it was already higher than that, so that was a screaming deal at the time. And again, just good cards, right? Just make that decision based on the cards. Don't look at the market. The market's already bakes most things in. It bakes most things in, right? Look at the cards. I will always do it right. Speedy Lou, higher price will require more work in terms of vetting legitimacy of the product and marketing and making sure you don't get wrecked on the transaction versus less thinking on cheaper bucks. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's more risk involved for sure. Yep. Let's take a look at Lost Origin. So last I checked, Lost Origin was still clipping at the heels of Fusion Strike here. Yeah, so Fusion Strike's the clear second place, I think. I think it's clear from the cards, too. Visually, I mean. Yeah, the Giratina is just not my style. It's too busy. Aerodactyl's great. Yeah, I think Fusion Strike's got the win for second place all day. Just in my opinion. I mean, again, Market disagrees with me. Market loves the card. But yeah, great set. Let's see what else. Astral Radiance is mid-tier set, you call it? Oh yeah, it's getting lots of love. Facebook Marketplace, I picked up a bunch of these at 125 last year. That's it. That's when you guys make your money. You're going to make less money, and I think that's something I've kind of told myself. You're going to make less money in the next 6 months in terms of planning, in terms of deploying capital and buying product, and the path that puts you on, than you will, than I did. And again, I just, and it takes going through multiple markets to build that wisdom. I am not a freaking genius. I'm not a genius. I'm not smart. I've just been through it enough. I've seen it. I've done it in the stock market. I'm not, and again, I'm not talking hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of capital here. I don't have that kind of money to deploy. I'm talking about small amounts of money, but just I've been through the market where I've seen distressed stuff. I did it with Metastock. I bought Metastock when it was low, and it was market hated it. Netflix, same thing, went down, right? Solid products that I believed in, that the market was just upset with. And we've seen the same thing. I've seen it in the Magic market. I've seen it in Pokemon. I saw it with Fusion Strike when I first was really starting to get interested in Pokemon, not just to collect and invest in it, but to get interested. Buying Fusion Strike at $80 a box. People were like giving it away. And that's where you make your money. But it's hard. It's not fun at that point. It's not fun. And I guarantee you, when the market dries up, my YouTube videos are going to go down. And you're going to have the transient people who are in it because it's hot. And I saw the same thing during the pandemic, right? When we had the influencer market and, Logan Paul and everyone, people were coming into the market, dumping lots of money. Most of those people, if I were to wager a guess, at least 75% of them are gone. Most people are transient because they can't They're paper hands. When a market goes down, they're like, crap, I'm out of here, I'm done. And once they get burnt, they're not coming back. But those down markets are when you deploy your money and you put yourself on a path towards wealth, long term. Let's see, what else are we talking about here? Pick up Paradox Rift booster box or Paradox Rift getting further from reprint. Yeah, I think Paradox Rift is a fine buy. I think it's a fine buy at that price. I would get it. I don't know what's happening with reprints on that. There's always reprint risk, but again, I think that, remember, anything that comes to market for reprints, we saw it for Paldea, Obsidian Flames, it barely budged the market, right? They've been very soft-handed on reprints. We've seen it with 151 where they won't reprint ETBs. I think it's clear to say that now. They will not reprint ETBs for 151. We're too far down the road. They'll reprint other stuff. And when they do reprint booster boxes, they go through distribution, and distribution jacks up the price. Not to MSRP levels, but they're not giving it to stores at $100. It's more like $125. So that MSRP price is a great line in the sand to yourself to say, hey, it's under MSRP, regardless of reprint risk. If reprint risk is just a bonus, okay, you have to get out of the mindset of, oh crap, they reprinted it, now I don't have confidence in it. That is an opportunity. If the price regresses after you've purchased it, dollar cost average down, get a box that's cheaper. Now your cost average per box is lower. That's a good thing. That's how you have to look at it. Jimbo, 151's got to be almost done. I hope so. The market just doesn't care. I mean, just look at the booster bundles. Booster bundles are still selling unbelievably well. I couldn't believe how many have sold. I couldn't believe how many are still on the market for sale. These have sold 13,000 booster bundles in the last year. Just the booster bundles. So that tells me they printed the crap out of those. That's $400,000 worth of ETBs at MSRP. Not ETBs, booster bundles. And there's still 600 available here. And the market's gobbled them up. Barely, look at this. If you zoom out, this is still a great price increase, 67% over the year. Every time I got a notification, hey, Walmart's got these in stock, back the truck up and get them. This is a great, if this is this seems to be their methodology. They didn't do this with Crown Zenith, but they kind of started to do it with 151. Leave the ETBs alone and use booster bundles and things like Blooming Waters to get packs to the market. So that kind of creates that ETB. Instead of it just being a vehicle to get packs to the market, it becomes a collector's item. It is now a de facto collector's item, right? Just look at so $340 for Pokemon Center ETB for 151, $170 for regular ETB. I think that's a great, if that's a conscious approach from the Pokemon Company's end, I think that's fantastic. I think that's extremely smart. And it protects this product. Now, Prismatic, that's not going to happen. I don't think they have a choice but to reprint ETBs. So that's the delicate balance they're trying to, and that's hard. Like I look at Magic all the time, right? It's a player's market, not a collector's market. So it's different. They have to reprint certain cards to get them into the market, or else play falls apart. The price of cards is driven by the play style. And that has its own difficulties, right? Because now the meta of what is played changes, and they don't necessarily control that, right? And so they have to react and reprint certain cards. They have to put certain cards back into the market in quantity to level set that price, or else it'll literally exclude certain people from being able to play certain formats. And this is they're very different companies in what they have to do. But the Pokemon Company has consistently, over the time that I've been investing, has done everything they can to balance things as well as possible. They are the kings at that. They're capitalizing on IP. That's one thing Magic has completely given up on. Pokemon Company, keep in mind, they line their IP up across games, across TV shows, across print media, across this, the TCG. That's crazy. And they capitalize and they squeeze everything they can out of it. That's what a company should be doing. But they do so without killing the collector's market. It's incredible. It really is incredible. Someone needs to do just a deep dive documentary on how well they perform, because it's really incredible. QROYT, as an investor, I'm not fighting to buy one box every other day. I just buy cases and PC stuff when it gets pinged, paying for bots. Yeah, just that's a great way to do it. Chris Kaysen, yes, it's a beautiful product in my opinion. In the future, they will be extremely liquid. It's a mini booster box, very easy to take a bite out of, premium high for price tag. Yeah, that's a great point. Low cost, low barrier to entry. Booster bundles are gonna do, booster bundles have been doing really good. They've been doing really well. I didn't know how they were gonna perform, if it was just gonna be a way to get packs, because there's nothing literally special about them. Obviously, from a storage standpoint, they're great, right? They're efficient, much more efficient than ETBs. And I think there's a delineation now between the booster bundle and the ETB. The ETB used to be a vehicle of just getting packs to I shouldn't say that. They're still weird because you get a whole bunch of junk in them, but the market doesn't really care. The market still sit like 151. The market still puts a premium on the ETB. Why? Why does the market put a premium on the ETB for 151? It's not a per pack price. Has nothing to do with that. It's not like the dividers and the sleeves in it, right? There's a promo. That's part of it. You do get a promo in that. That's probably a large. You get the Snorlax promo, so that's probably a good chunk of it right there. Snorlax promo. You get nothing else in a booster bundle. And I think as time goes on, I've talked about this before, the price of a product, the price of a sealed box diverges from the cards within it. It becomes its own collectible. And I think that's what's happening here. There's only 100 of these listed on TCG Player. So I think and people remember like opening this box. Even I remember buying Evolving Skies sleeved booster packs and cracking them. And I enjoy doing it. We remember those things and people want to go back to what they opened, right? And I think that's a lot of what the ETB is. 151 is a better taken care of set print wise than Evolutions, and look at Evolutions over 1,000 for a box. Think long term here. Yeah, 151, they definitely took a different approach with 151, which I think they needed to. It was a really special set. They kept it that way. So, Lost Origin boxes, what do we think about their cost? I think it's right where it needs to be. It's exactly right where it needs to be, behind Fusion Strike. For a while there, they were kind of going tit for tat. Fusion Strike has always been the better set, just my opinion. So I think it's right where it needs to be. It's not too expensive. It's not too cheap. You just need to make, and it's good. These are great products. They're revered. They're well loved by many people. There will be nostalgia associated with them. They will continue to rise over time. So it's up to you to decide, hey, do I want to buy an expensive product like this? What's the upside potential versus something in like Scarlet and Violet Era, right? But now Scarlet and Violet Era is not so cheap anymore. Twilight Masquerade's a couple $100. Surging Spark's a couple $100. So at that point is the calculus, hey, go back in time and get something from from Sword and Shield like Lost Origin that has some age to it. And we know age, right, drives population in the market, and it drives price eventually. Where do you put your money, right? Like, let's put it this way. Like, do you journey together? Like, the approach that they're going to take for reprints moving forward is probably going to be different. The approach that they take for sets like Team Rocket, to me, the demand signal for the market for like a Team Rocket is, if I'm a Pokemon company and I have the bandwidth, I'm going to print the crap out of that before release day, or else I'm going to have a big problem on my hands. I think that's an obvious thing that they should be considering. If I'm Pokemon company, I'm printing the crap out of it. If I'm Pokemon company, and like Journey Together was already in queue with the printers before Prismatic, while Prismatic was getting previewed. So there's probably nothing they can do about that. That's the lead time. Keep that in mind. The lead time that it takes on these printers is months to years. Okay, even though they own the print company, they can do some nimble things. They can do some interrupts here, but the amount of production that they have to do, the amount of setup that they have to do. I work in the print industry. It is difficult. Okay, technology helps a lot. Its supply chain is a big, huge part of it. It's difficult. It's not something you can call up your printer, even if you own it, and say, hey, next week I want you to run Prismatic. It takes a lot longer than that. So there, one of the things we see is when the demand signal from the market goes through the roof like this, what will end up happening is by the time they react, the market's already starting to cool off. And then when it cools off, the product that's coming to market is in such a volume that it erodes confidence. We saw this with some sets from the pandemic. They just killed it. The demand was so high, by the time they could react on future sets and even reprints, the market had gone. But that's the kind of opportunity we're gonna get to a bear market again. These cycles happen. I'm gonna be buying less. I'm not buying $300 booster boxes. I'll sell $300 booster boxes, but I'm not buying. And that's just, I'm gonna make less money over, in terms of what I'm buying and the future plan with that product in the next 6 months to a year. And we have no idea how long this market's gonna last. None. A lot of it depends on the economy. I think prices are still high in terms of just living. Heat, electricity, gas, all that stuff is still high. The consumer price index is not rising as fast, but it's still high. We haven't seen any kind of price regressions. A lot of things are what's going to happen the next 6 months. We have the changing of the guard from a national standpoint. There's still world stuff that's in tension. There's some stuff that's less in tension this week, which is fantastic, but still an exogenous event. A lot of it's going to depend on that and what happens there. So we just don't know. If things continue to be okay and level and nothing big changes, and the Pokemon Company keeps knocking out of the park, it could be 12 months to 18 months bear market, bull market. Sorry, complete opposite. And I think a lot of it hinges on Team Rocket. I think Journey Together could be okay set, and things continue to push forward. Everyone's waiting for Team Rocket. If that's a flop, then you might have a problem on your hands at that point. But let's see. What price do you guys see Master Ball Evolutions land after release? I have no idea. I can't even guess. I don't want to guess on card prices at this point. We have no idea. I mean, let's put it this way. Do we see a lot more single buying? Because sealed products high, and obviously sealed products high, so single prices come up. So I don't know. Maybe people see it as, and pull rates suck, right? We've seen pull rates suck. We don't have as much demand, as much data on that as we're going to get in the next coming weeks here. But it looks like pull rates aren't great. So for a lot of people, that means, hey, I got to get singles. I'm not spending $150 on an ETB to get 9 packs, 10 packs, whatever it is now, in the hopes of getting something decent. I'm just going to buy singles, even if those singles are $300, right? That's just 2 ETBs at the moment, which is wild, but that's where we're at. So, and again, what's gonna tell us things here is when we get to past tomorrow. We get into the weekend and we see what happens with how much comes to market, how many ETBs from these larger sellers were held back. I know of one, Football Pete on eBay held back about 3,000 ETBs and was selling them at $200 a pop. There's a lot of people that did less pre-orders because they were waiting to capitalize on the higher price. So do we see a big glut of product come tomorrow where people will try to capitalize? Do we see a race to the bottom? Or do we see the market have so much demand and so many people waiting to buy, not just waiting to sell, waiting to buy, that there's plenty of money to flow into the market and there's no race to the bottom? That'll be the question. There hasn't been a need to do that on any product recently. You've been able to I can put any booster box from any set that's decent, right? Any decent set, I can put it at the market price and I can sell it in 24 hours right now. And again, not long ago, a year ago in Scarlet and Violet, that wasn't the case. So we'll see. Let's see what's up. Thanks a lot for the stream. Keep up the great work. Yeah, peace. Take care, man. Thanks for stopping by. And just a reminder, everyone, hit the like button if you can. If you haven't subscribed, you like what we're talking about, maybe check out some of our other videos. And if we can earn your subscription, that'd be awesome. Trying to get to 2,000 subs here. It's a slow grind, but everyone's been fantastic. But any likes on the stream definitely help. We'll go for another 20 minutes or so here. Again, talking about Prismatic for tomorrow. What are your favorite cards? Let's look at this card list here. Let's take a look at... do we have... Yeah, we do. Visual set list. What are your favorite cards visually from Prismatic? I'll tell you mine. Let's see here. Hyper rares. Nothing really getting me from the hyper. Oh, the Terrapagus actually looks kind of nice. That's kind of interesting. Ooh, let's see. Roaring Moon is definitely up there. Umbreon's got to be the top card, right? That's got to be the top one. Let's see what else here. Jolteon, I've seen some pictures of those. Those look fantastic. All the Evolutions cards, SRs, are going to be fantastic. Palafin's going to be great. That's a beautiful card. Some of the masks that they're doing in the set, definitely cool. I think Vaporeon looks great. All these look great. This is just like when I saw the previews, I was like, this is out there for artwork. Just look at that screen right there. The amount of gorgeous artwork, the different styles that we have. It's almost like they just told their artists, like, hey, no holds barred. We're not trying to hit a certain kind of style on the set. Just do something funky and out there. That's kind of like what I'm getting here. And it's just beautiful. Yeah, Roaring Moon, definitely. Umbreon's fantastic. That's going to be an expensive card. I would say that's got to be with the pull rates. That's got to be $500 hit, right? Minimum, I would think. Versailles, in my opinion, Prismatic is being underestimated, believe it or not, and Rocket is overestimated. We don't know, man. I mean, I got to see. I can't. I'm not comparing sets when I have previews for one and not the other. I mean, to me, I got to see previews. I got to look at the artwork. That's what speaks to people, right? That's what people buy. Sorry, that's what people. I'm not comparing to a set we don't have any previews for yet. So, Alan, you think 1,600 for that? You think so? Yeah, the pull rates are terrible. Japanese is 500. Okay, if Japanese is 500, then yeah, minimum $1,000. Trainers, not my thing. What else do we have here? Would you guys think of that surprise? I think the other evolutions too are looking real good. What do you guys think of the surprise box? I did a video on that. I think that's going to be a sleeper. I think that price of this box is going to go up. I think those prismatic stamped cards are going to go hot. They're going to go hot. Ooh, that Jolteon's sick. That's beautiful. That's just so much in the set. That's what I want. To me, from an investment standpoint, like, look at all these cards. We have beautiful cards at this, at this rarity. And then we have beautiful cards as you step down in rarity, right? So there's just something, hopefully something to pull and chase for everyone. Speedy, did you get any pre-orders canceled? No, not yet. Not yet. I got my Pokemon Center ETBs are on the way. Delivery tomorrow. I get a couple other retailers that are delivering tomorrow. I did order a couple from Walmart from a third-party seller. Those did ship. So, so far so good. No cancellations. I got lucky. I did spread the love out again for pricing, but it was also to try to get, I did the same thing with Surging Sparks just in case the cancellations came, but no, I got lucky. Surprise box will be second behind PC ETB. Yeah, I think it could. Now that doesn't come out until the first week of February, I think. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. That'll be interesting. Let's see. What else we got? What are people's favorite SARs from Prismatic Evolutions? Yeah, I think it's all the Evolutions cards, man. That Roaring Moon is one of my favorites. But there's just there's a lot to love here. So that'll be the big thing is singles this weekend. What happens with singles? We're gonna see all the singles listed on TCG Player. I think a lot of people are gonna be buying singles. They don't want to buy sealed. Pull rates suck, right? There's nothing. No one wants to pull. Okay, bad pull rates are great for investors to a point. At some point, it could be bad enough that it literally scares people off from opening product. Okay, and that means the cost to get a card, a specific card, the chance to get that card is informed by the price of the booster box, right? Because you have to go through booster boxes or ETBs to get that card. So if that price gets too high, then again, you could go downside on the other side too, with the supply, with just not enough people opening a box, that the supply dries up and price goes up even further. It gets really weird in terms of singles like that. Promos and supply box, surprise box are done lazily, but doesn't stop people from wanting them. I mean, it's just a stamp, it's a logo, right? But that's true of the Pokemon Center ETBs as well, and those have gone through the roof. The cards in the boxes that they're in, it's just a logo, but it's enough to separate it. It creates a rarity, and the fact that they are random inside the surprise box, meaning you don't know which one you're going to get, meaning that Umbreon one is definitely going to be hot, right? It's got to be, and it's going to be a different value. And the fact that they're not equal, it's not like a Pokemon Center ETB. If I open that, I get that specific promo. This is one of 9 different ones, and so there's going to be some chase there. And I could push those boxes up, like it did for the Pokemon Center ETBs. Yeah, I'm telling you, that's a $200 box, and it's nuts because it's 4 packs in there. It's it's already a terrible pack price. It's already almost double the pack price. But just you're gonna have those are gonna be rare. Those boxes, there's not a lot of boxes on here, and typically they print that kind of weird stuff like that. They're not gonna print as much of it. Those are gonna be expensive cards. Stamps are the modern versions of first edition, in my opinion. Yeah. And I would not have guessed that. It's just a stamp. It's not a different foiling or anything like that. It's just a stamp. It's the same version of the card with a logo on it. But we're talking. I mean, you see it with Pokemon Center ETBs. It's twice sometimes 3 times the price. It's wild. Like that Charmander from Obsidian Flames is $126 for the stamped version. Let me find the other one here. That's already expensive. Which Charmander is it? It's Charmander 44. Why can't I look that up? I think it was under $50 last I checked. So it's a big, it's over 50%. Here it is. Oh, it's under $20. So 6 times as much. So non-stamped version, market price of $11. Stamped version, I'm sorry, market price $76. The lowest listing is $120 for near mint. So that's gonna continue to rise. So triple, quadruple, that's crazy. But it's scarcity, right? There's just less of these out there. I mean, there's 60 of these have sold this year, and there's only 18 available. You have to crack now a $220 ETB to get this card. That's the only way. And again, now I have sealed, Obsidian Pokemon Center ETBs, so that means less population of those for me. That's awesome. That's what I want. It's a $250 box for a set that was hated for a long time. I should have bought more. I should have. Again, there were a couple of YouTubers out there that were calling this before it skyrocketed. It was Pika Pika Papa was one of them. If you're not following him, awesome PokeTuber. One of the only straight ones that are out there in terms of just straight knowledge, no hype, great data, all that kind of stuff. He was calling it before. He was calling the Pokemon Center stamped CTBs, because I did a video on this. You can look back at Sword and Shield and look at the performance of Sword and Shield Pokemon Center ETBs versus Scarlet and Violet. Scarlet and Violet Pokemon Center ETBs were, up until recently, outperforming booster boxes from the same era in terms of percentage gains. That's crazy. 220% return on this card in 1 year because of this stamp. The market realizing. So crazy. We just saw Twilight Masquerade Pokemon Center ETBs get, dare I say, reprinted. I keep saying reprinted. It was a big restock if it wasn't a reprint, but hasn't cared. Just keeps chugging. And that card from that set, I really wish they would list the card Teal Mask Ogerpon right here. And this is the regular one, actually. So that's from the regular ETB. And let's see if we can find the stamped version here somewhere. I don't know where it is, but it's up there in value. Let's see, Surging Sparks, right? This is the Magneton from Surging Sparks. Pokemon Center version, $63 already. That's more than the cost of the ETB was at release. So would have been nice to see a dedicated surprise box promo set like Greninja, Kindra SF promos, cards not in the main set. Speedy, yeah, that would have been cool. Yeah. I mean, these are going to be expensive anyway. They're just putting a stamp. I mean, you got to look at it from like a deployment standpoint and production standpoint. It's easy for them. This is easy. And it just throw a stamp on, like the demand signal from the market is that, hey, stamps on cards are cool. So let's throw a stamp on a card and throw it in a surprise box and make it random. Now there's chase behind it. People are going to crack that box chasing those cards when they see those cards are, $200, $300, and that's going to drive down the population of those. I didn't pick any of those up, or I didn't pre-order any of them. I should have. So if you do see those under $100 a pop, I would grab them. Question chat: how much for Prismatic Evolution PC ETC EV promo on PSA 10? Ooh, that's a good question. That's I don't do much in the way of grading, so that's definitely a $2,500. Who knows? Realistically, do you think market will ever be saturated Prismatic with an announced reprint? So I hope not. Well, what's your definition of saturated? So I hope it's not saturated to the point that the price drops and tanks to nothing. I mean, it doesn't affect my long-term plan. I guess that's, when a market like this, when you have a really good product, the market loves it, the price goes up, a reprint happens, it tanks. That's like an investor's dream, because the market has shown that it loves the product. It's voted on the product. And now you can take that experience and you can take that knowledge, and now you have a cheaper product and you can load up on that product, and the market loves it. Market's voted on it already, right? Now the market's not always right, but I think with Prismatic, it's clear that it is. So if the market gets saturated, again, it depends what saturation means. I think the market would be healthy for Prismatic if it got down to like $80 a booster in ETB. I think I would be healthy. I'd probably buy some more at that point. I would probably crack some at that point. I think that would it's below that $100 psychological threshold for an ETB. So I think that would be a good, that would appease everyone. It would appease the investors. It would appease people who want to crack and open the product. It would get more singles to market. I think the singles market's going to be tough for this. I think that's going to be hard. Skinner, I remember Vivid Voltage being resold, and now it's one of the lowest tier sets of. Yeah, it's a mass set, mid tier. I call it mid tier. I mean, it's $200 a box. There's something to it. John, anyone know if they're going to be basic evolutions or the EX evolutions? Don't know. Well, okay, what else are we looking at tonight? Let's see. So we've covered Prismatic. I'm going to try to, I'm going to be curious. I always pick up Prismatic from a local GameStop. I pre-order it online and then pick it up. I'm just about guaranteeing I won't be able to do it, but I'm going to try. And that one, if I get it, I'm going to crack that one and be severely disappointed, I'm sure. But that's what I do. I'll crack one anyway if I get it in. I got a bunch of them coming in tomorrow, so I'll crack one. I got to crack one. So. But yeah, it'll be interesting. That singles market's going to be rough. That's definitely going to be rough. Now that I'm thinking about it, there's just not going to be, people aren't going to be cracking that to get singles. But again, if the singles prices go up and there's demand for them, and that means people are it's worth cracking the box. Again, there's a causal relationship between the price of singles, the quantity of singles in the market, and the box price, and then the pull rates, of course, in those boxes. Question: how much do you think is happening to TV show games affect the card market? It affects it tremendously. There's a lot of crossover. There's a massive amount of crossover. This is like, we see this with Disney all the time. The amount of crossover that they do with their IP, from movies to games to theme parks to merchandise to toys, right? That is what you're supposed to do with an IP. There's a lot of reasons for that. The biggest one, of course, is to from a revenue standpoint, to milk it as much as possible, right? You're going to create that world and create those characters. You want as much out of it as possible. It also ingrains it into the nature of human. Like Disney is ingrained in us as from childhood, right? That's what they want, and that's the same thing that happened to Pokemon. And people don't give them enough credit for what they've done over the last few decades with this product. The amount of crossover that happens, not even the crossover, like when Scarlet and Violet came out, Scarlet and Violet was a Nintendo Switch video game too, right? So now you had that, and then Scarlet and Violet booster boxes came out, like, so they align everything from media to media, right? From game to card game to now we have multiple applications on the phone. They're firing on all cylinders, and it's really the proof's in the pudding. What we see in the TCG alone, right? It's yeah. You're opening 5 ETBs tomorrow. Good luck. Hopefully you get some good pulls. 5 ETBs, I would hope you get something, but who knows with the pull rates. We'll get some pull rate information hopefully next week. Again, I know it looks bad, but there's not the thing here is there's not a lot of people willing to open enough ETBs to get data from them when they could turn around and sell them for $150 a pop. The Chinese market is getting interesting. There seems to be new and more expected demand. Very curious on how Chinese exclusive promos will do. There's definitely opportunity like that. There's definitely opportunity in Japanese market, but to me, I don't want to work at it. I'm lazy. I want to just kind of buy product, and I've tried the singles game. The amount of work that goes into it is far too much. I just don't want to touch anything. I want to buy the gold standard, and Japanese and English Pokemon is the gold standard. It's what I grew up on. I believe in it. I would encourage people to, if you are an investor, if you are serious about this long term, get to a card show, get to a Comic-Con, get to your local game store, get to your local card shop that does Pokemon. There's a couple card shops near me that do almost exclusively Pokemon. And number one, the community is fantastic. The store owners are fantastic. the love of just collecting it's a thing. Okay, the amount of people that play, do not discount the amount of people that play the game. I was talking about PAX East earlier. I was at PAX East last year, and I actually work for the company that puts PAX East together. It's part of my printing thing here that I do. But anyway, massive play booth just for playing for Pokemon. Massive, huge presence on the floor, huge booth. It was like a 30 by 30 booth. And I was like, I'm just curious how many people are actually going to show up. The day of show open, the line was wrapped around the booth. Tons of people, and they weren't just giving stuff out. It was just to play. It was a play space. Massive demand. So lots of people play. That is still a good chunk of people out there. Most people collect. But yeah, visit your local game stores. Go to conventions. The amount of people collecting cards for the love of it in the different ages, and now it's spanning gender too. A lot of couples I see, young couples collecting cards. They bring out their binders. They're trying to collect master sets. It's a beautiful thing. I love it. I just love seeing it. It's a great part of humanity and culture, but it's also great from an investor standpoint to be selfish. That's what you want to see. It's going to continue on. It was one time I was picking up ETBs on release day from that GameStop I told you about, and there was a few different people there. As myself, obviously, I'm approaching middle age here. I saw a teenager and I saw a kid with his dad there picking up an ETB, and that to me, it's beautiful, and that's just. It's the path forward and the exposure that this product is getting to people. It's still out there. I would have thought that kids would have just said, I don't want physical stuff. I want to play Roblox. I want to do all this stuff online. Kids still like having physical things. And I think as time goes forward, there is absolutely a world that I think we see a regression towards physical media again, not just card games. I'm talking, we've seen a resurgence in people purchasing physical books. I think as we get more disconnected from the physical reality, we get more VR, we get more detached from the world, that there's going to be a large part of the population, even if they didn't grow up on it, they're going to want to get back into physical media. Like we saw a resurgence in vinyl, right? CD quality is absolutely better than vinyl, but there's just something about the collecting nature of it and having that old record and holding on to it and passing it down to your kids and all those things that you can touch it. I think it's going to go the other way at some place in time. And again, I work, like I mentioned, I work in the print industry, specific to conventions, right? That's what I was saying. I was working on PAX, and this is live engagements. It's experiential events. It's people getting together to exchange ideas. And when the pandemic hit, our industry was absolutely decimated to the point where we didn't think it was ever going to come back. Why are people going to spend after that whole, the whole pandemic? Why are people going to spend thousands of dollars to get together, to shake hands, to, come to find out, humans need that connection. And the TCG can provide that connection through play. It can provide that connection through, again, visiting the local game store. And again, talking to people. Hey, being able to talk to someone, not about how you play a card, but hey, just sharing an appreciation for how a card looks, how beautiful it is, or sharing a story about, hey, I cracked that Moonbryon in Evolving Skies after opening 100 packs or whatever it is. It's a beautiful thing. And that's not part of the hobby that I was always a part of. That's something that I just got into Pokemon from an investing standpoint, just buying boxes, put them on a shelf. But just fell in love with it. Fell in love with the community. It's beautiful. Fell in love with the cards. I fell in love with what Pokemon Company does with it after seeing how other games were mismanaged, other cards were mismanaged from a collecting standpoint. Pokemon Company knows what they're doing. Yeah, it's in our nature, Speedy, to want to be together. I don't think you can replace it. I think that you can't eliminate. I don't think humans are healthy without it. And that's why, I mean, there's I would think at least a loose correlation between what we see. So look at social media, right? Social media, would you think that would connect us? Like many years ago, a lot of us thought it would connect us, right? Hey, we're seeing people, we're seeing what people do, they're sharing ideas and thoughts. And in actuality and implementation, it's not the same. And in fact, it gives us this almost like imposter syndrome where we're looking at a curated look into someone else's life, and it makes us feel like we don't have enough. It's not the same as sharing it. It's not the same as sitting in front of someone and sharing ideas and sharing thoughts and debating. It's just not the same. Michaelian, keeping my PC ETB sealed, that's probably the way to go. If you're going to crack stuff, don't crack Pokemon Center UTB. That doesn't make any sense. Unless that EV goes to like $500 a pop. No way. Keep it sealed. Keep it sealed. Don't touch it. It's not, there's nothing special in it. Again, it's just a one extra pack in that stamp promo. So it's, you know, unless you got to have that stamp promo. Again, if the price goes up, maybe there's a, you know, a reason to do it. But I'm going to sell one, I think. We'll see. We'll see what happens tomorrow. A bunch of them are going to come to market. I would expect the price to come down a little bit. But then there's going to be, tomorrow there's going to be a lot of people are like waiting for the price to go down, and then it doesn't go down, and they're like, oh crap, now's my time. I don't have a like, it's going to go up from here. So that could, I think that could be another, it'll be interesting to see how that goes tomorrow. Could go one way or the other. All right, let's see. I think we're going to wrap up the stream. I got a couple things to do. I got to work on some video stuff. Yeah, so do me a favor. Anyone who's in chat right now, hit me up at PokeMarketLab@gmail.com. I'll put a sticker in the mail for you. Send me your address. If you haven't gotten one before, preferably if you're in the US, because it takes a little extra on the postage to get to Canada. But yeah, hit me up, PokeMarketLab@gmail.com, and I'll get you a sticker in the mail. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the stream here tonight. It doesn't make sense to open Prismatic now. Its terrestrial has better pull rates and cheaper. Yeah, it's just not, I don't know, it's just not the same to me. Like I want the English cards. I like Japanese cards are beautiful. The quality's good, but just I want English cards to collect long term. So that's it. We're going to wrap it up tonight. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for spending some time here. Thanks for hitting that like button. Thanks for subscribing. Hit me up at PokeMarketLab@gmail.com. Get a sticker. Mycolian, I appreciate you. I appreciate everyone, everyone sticking around, liking those videos. So, Pog-ass stream. I don't know what that means, man. I don't know if that's good, bad. I have no idea what that means. I'm gonna take it as a compliment because you've been pretty active. So, all right, everyone, peace out. We'll see you later.